I am here today with some very, very special guests. As you know, today is International Women's Day. Each year, I like to do something special for International Women's Day. So today I've invited two dear friends, which I've only become acquainted with very recently. Before we start, however, I would like to do an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge this country and its traditional custodians. We acknowledge and respect the spiritual relationship between the traditional custodians and this country. And we pay our respect to all the elders, past, present, and future. Thank you. I have here with me Toniele and Jen. Thank you so much for being part of this, what I hope will be just more of an informal conversation. But more importantly, I want you to share with you some of the stories that you told me when I met you in the shop for the first time.
We both did.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
Yes.
And look, I do apologise. I really wish I had more opportunity to spend in stores, because when I do, everybody that I meet, it really is, it's a very special moment for me. But there was something very special about what you do, and I feel that for this year's theme, for International Women's Day, the work that you do is very, very empowering. I felt in awe of what you do, both of you. It's just amazing. So I want to start with you, Toniele, because I actually think I met you first in our West
End, we were
End
getting ready
store.
for Christmas sale.
Yes.
And that was our second Christmas going to your event, and we got talking for a very long time.
and yes, that's right.
Excellent.
It was the second time.
Yes.
And the first Christmas event, I
Yep.
think there were so many people
There was
there.
a lot.
Lot more people
Yes.
there.
Yep.
Look, I just love. Look, why I've invited you both
Yep.
here today is you really have something very empowering. You're empowering other people. You're empowering women. When was it that I met you,
The
Jen?
23rd of December.
It's a busy month for
Around
you, Sal.
lunchtime.
Around
You were covering for one of the girls, one of the staff members at
beautiful.
lunchtime. And I remember all morning I was putting off going to Westfield. I was like, I don't want to go. I hate Christmas crowds. I just need to go in there. I know exactly what I need. I'll get in, get out. And Perfect Potion was my first protocol. I'm like, if I just go and balance myself with some energies, I had to buy an oil anyway.
Wow.
And then you and I connected. So
You
divine
were meant to
timing.
wait
Oh yeah.
until
Yeah.
you were there.
And I do remember I was on my own because one of our team was having a lunch break. And I was talking with you, but I knew that it was the 23rd of December.
Wow,
So it was so busy.
You're brave.
So you
What a
patiently
Brave or just
waited.
like irresponsible.
You patiently waited so that we could could chat.
Yeah.
Look, I have a series of questions, but I
Yes.
actually am very, very interested in why you came into Perfect Potion that day.
Yeah, so initially it was to do some Christmas shopping. So in my car, one of my self-care routines essentially is when I get in my car, especially because I've got two little kids, I like to be cool, calm and collected. So I actually have a little car diffuser in the car, a little USB one, and I've always got essential oils diffusing. And my mum said to me a little while ago, she's like, I love this. Like, this is great. Can you get me one of these for Christmas? So I got her the diffuser and I was like, I know that we've always loved Perfect Potion. Perfect Potion has always been in our homes. And so I thought, I'll pop into Perfect Potion, just get her a really nice blend, something that'll sort of, keep her going, for the long drive to and from work, not something too sleepy. And I knew that going in, like whoever was working on the day would be able to help me with a blend that would help. And the very first, I made a beeline for Perfect Potion. I parked downstairs on the same level, made a beeline, and I walked straight over, and the first oil that I saw was the Eros blend. Amazing. And so you and I got chatting about it. You came over to see if I wanted some help, and I mentioned that I was writing a book about Eros, and it kind of just flowed from there, didn't it? Like you were like, oh my God. And then
everything.
And then we got talking about like different plant medicines and the work that I do. And then you told me about your book, so I bought your book, and we just
I also saw
Flourish.
one of Sal's books,
Yeah.
and we went through it. It was just fascinating.
the focus today is International Women's Day, and it's
Yep.
the work that you guys do. Thank you so much for those beautiful, kind words. I do want to talk about your book, but
Yeah.
I just read something from your website. And first of all, your background in hypnotherapy, NLP, a conscious life coach, strategic psychotherapist, you do past life regression, and very much you're an intuitive healer. You did say that you love Eros.
Yes.
And I said before that anybody that's drawn to Eros is probably a shaman. And you don't have to think of shaman as a past life thing. I'm talking about a 21st century shaman. And I'm sure that will be revealed as we continue our discussion. But there was something in your website that made my soul shine. You said, be warned, you hang with me and you'll catch sparkles.
Wow. Wow, that's
I'm
lovely.
curious to know what you mean by that, because I've got a quote from somebody else who talks about shining and sparkling, but I want to know what it is that, inspires people to catch sparkles when they're going to hang around you.
So I thank you for bringing this up, Sal. And, for me, it's about embodying my divine feminine energy, and the flow of that to me is Eros. It is our life force. It is our feminine essence that flows through us. It's our connection to nature. It's our connection to our inner selves. And so for me, being the embodiment of that, I shine and I glow and I sparkle. And so I really hold the intention that anyone that I come into contact with is going to have an experience of that expression of self.
Yeah.
Yes,
Excellent, excellent.
So I hope you guys catch some sparkles today.
Thank you. Sprinkle some Eros.
And Sal knows one of the things I'm really passionate about is neuroscience in the brain.
Yes.
And we do have mirror neurons, and you do pick it up off people, and there's science behind it. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and exactly, Toniele, that is what really, because I'm very much, in the aromatherapy world, there's like the real intuitive natural healing side, and then there is the real science-based.
Yes.
And neuroscience, the understanding that we now have of essential oils and how they can have an effect on our neurotransmitters. There's all this neuroscience now coming out to validate what we've always known. And that's what really caught my attention in the work that you do.
Yeah, at West End.
Please tell me,
was.
I'm just curious about how you've been able to, because your background is in social work.
It is in social work.
You're both very much involved as healers and carers. People.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And so how did you decide your path from social work to the journey you're taking now in your consulting business? How did
Listening to you, I'm like, that is a bit of an eclectic mix, isn't it? So I've always been one to follow my heart and go with what I feel and what feels right. And I wanted to be a lawyer, actually, as a young person after school, and that was not a fit for me.
I'm
it was
glad
not.
you did not become.
It was
nothing against lawyers.
we need
I
them.
love lawyers.
We need them.
Yeah, we really do.
But again, it just wasn't sitting right with me. I'm very much focused on we need to listen to our head, our heart, and our gut, and it needs to tick all three, and that didn't happen for me. I was really drawn to the social and community services sector, so I quit my job and I volunteered full-time. It was actually the Salvation Army back in the day. So I did that, Sal, went in to do some social work, and that was it. That was that space for me. The more I get to know people and the more I get to know about the brain leads to my interest and the fascination. There is so much that we are responsible for that is so connected to the brain. And if we can understand it even that little bit differently, we're going to interact differently with others. We'll connect differently with others. Sal, that's kind of how it all evolved. I'm also just really open to experiences and learning, and I think we have to be. I really do. And then you throw in some business stuff in there, and I think it's a little bit of an oxymoron. A stranger told me at a cafe once, "Oh, you're a social worker with a business degree," and that's an oxymoron, isn't it? And, well, you just make it work, Sal. And I think it's just listening to yourself and people around you and where it takes you.
So, Yeah, that's a very interesting combination, because you have that business background,
Yeah.
but you're also, you know, you
Yes.
did your training in social work.
Yeah.
What? And I'm sure you must, like, what was it that said, I want to start this consulting business that I have now?
Yeah.
And how do you empower people? And
Great
how do
question.
you empower,
Yeah.
you know,
Others?
others and
around
women,
us
a lot
then.
of the women, because
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, and I'm sure you'll have thoughts as well. Sal, it's a really tough space, and I think one of the challenges as women we face is being in our own head. And we have so many, I'm going to call them scripts. I don't know if you've got a different word, but there's so much stuff and negativity that we hold of, I can't do this, and I'm not good enough, and I'm too young, and I'm a female, and all these other things. And I think it takes a village and a community around you to really chase after your dreams and to help empower you. And certainly this is, I think, the theme of what we're talking about is surround yourself with others who do fill you with that, so you can follow your vision and your dreams and your hopes. No, at no time when I did social work, Sal, did I ever think I'd be in business. I probably would have laughed at you or anyone who dare suggested the idea. But the more I think we get confident in ourselves and what we have to offer and bring to the world, and we surround ourselves with other women and other people, we can make a huge difference.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you. Jen, I'm just looking, and I would have thought, oh, maybe Jen's like be there, but in many ways you remind me of me. And the first thing is that, you know, the first thing I wanted to be before I took my journey in aromatherapy and traditional Chinese medicine, I wanted to be a hypnotherapist. But you've done hypnotherapy, life coaching, so it's like you were on a journey. Tell us a little bit about that journey and the skill sets that you've developed, and especially because I know the work that you do is specifically to empower women.
So the journey that led me here in the beginning was, you know, I'd gone through separation and I'd really lost myself in the process. I had 2 young children. I had to navigate life on my own and recalibrate to find myself again after being in a relationship, after becoming a mother, and then through going on the journey through studying hypnotherapy and psychotherapy and then NLP, I realized that because I had so many breakthroughs, I had breakdowns to have breakthroughs, but I realized that I discovered the journey and the path that I could take other women through as well. And I knew so many women that were like, I need help and I don't even know where to start.
Maybe related or been there as well.
Yes, there's so many women that have had such a similar experience. And, you know, what we were talking about before with, you know, the inner scripting, it's those limiting beliefs that we hold. It's the deep,
limiting.
It's the deep conditioning that we hold on to. And so when we turn the spotlight inwards to discover what those limits are, and we have the tools, we have the ability to change our minds, we have ways in which we can, you know, come home to ourselves essentially to discover who we are, what it is that we desire, and create sustainable steps to get there. And that's the empowerment journey. And remembering it is a journey, it's not a destination.
It's
which has been, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the biggest things for me as well, is realizing that there's so many layers to it. It's like the yellow brick road, you know, that goes around. There's different people that you meet along the way, different challenges that you have. And then, you know, and ultimately it's all about the journey and what you do along the way.
Fantastic. I think I had these questions prepared, but I really think you've actually, in what you've just said, you've answered so many of these questions that I really have. Look, I want to stay here all day and talk to you guys because I'm getting empowered and inspired as well. And I do want to mention that we will we have agreed on a date. It's going to be the weekend of the 18th and 19th of March.
May.
In May.
Yes.
Not in March. Sorry, cut that. In May.
18, 19,
And the theme is going to be around empowering individuals to flourish.
Yeah.
Because we live in such chaotic times and such challenging times,
Yeah.
and it is, and so I will have Toniele, I will have Jen, I'm going to have Jennifer Jeffries has agreed to come on board, I've had Sharon Wood, and several other speakers will be coming on board to be part of an incredible day, which I think will just allow your soul to shine. A lovely word that I like to use. I want to what advice would you have to some, someone that finds themselves in like a challenging space right now, whether it is they might have these dreams, might have these passions, but they just don't know how they're going to get there? What advice would you have for a young woman or any woman that finds herself in such a situation?
The first thing, I'm going to go with Wise Mind. First thing that comes to mind is surround yourself with people. You need the people in your life who uplift you, who recharge you and energize you. I think, and look, I'm going to speak specifically to women, that we can sometimes be in positions or relationships or friendships that are taxing on us. And it takes such a emotional and mental load and toll, but because of our structure and how we make up, we give, and I think sometimes we really need to do a stock take and go, who is value adding to my life? And using those people to surround yourself to uplift, inspire and encourage. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, that gives me the warm and fuzzies, that one. Yeah. So for me, it's about meeting yourself with so much grace and so much love. Because, especially as women, whether we're in business, whether we're, career focused or studying or mothers or partners or homemakers, whatever that looks like, for women, there's so many different facets to our femininity. Meeting ourselves where we're at with grace to just be human along the way. And so how can we cultivate so much love from within that we're actually moving forward in a direction that we flourish into, as opposed to beating ourselves up for not being where we think we should be or expected to be or to be doing. So just inviting in just that natural flow. And I mean, that's the divine feminine flow anyway, is to meet ourselves in grace.
Yeah, I love that word. That's
you
beautiful.
do know that I've created a blend called Grace, and that grace actually, no, maybe it was Grace was my word of the year as well.
Isn't
because
that
I do
interesting?
feel
So I just wrote a blog. It's on my website, my LinkedIn page, but it just last week of grace, wisdom, and grit.
Yes.
Grace, wisdom, and grit. And I think as women, we need grace, we need wisdom, and we need grit, because it is
beautiful words of advice.
It's tough, and there's a level of resilience that comes with that. So really, really beautiful word.
So because my next question was going to be, but I think you've started to answer that, Toniele, is like at some, on our journey that we are all on, we must think, I want to think of it now more as from a personal perspective. As a woman, what obstacles have you, if there's an example of some challenges or obstacles and how you overcome them, because sharing your story is going to really help others.
Look, really similar to something I answered before, just around the negative talk and the self-beliefs and the scripts. That's been definitely a challenge for me, Sal. I was around people and where there were some concerning behaviours or personalities that we would actually call narcissistic behaviours, and it's incredibly traumatizing and debilitating, and it makes you think things about yourself, that you're not good enough and you can't do this. That's where the work is. And I love what you said before so beautifully, because you put it in a spotlight on you and you go, actually, there's stuff out there, but who am I? And working through that and growing, and they're like growth pains, but not being the same person I was 1, 2, 3, 5 years ago is incredible. And I love that. And I think in summary of that, Sal, we've got to do the work. We have to do the work. And I think that ties really nicely into what you're saying as well. We actually have to do the work. there's noise, there's yucky stuff that goes on. But if we've got a growth mindset, we can do the work.
Yes,
Excellent.
so beautifully said. Yes,
Wow.
I agree with all of that. And
Yeah.
you know, for me, some of the challenges is the aloneness through the journey, especially in business. Like, I came from a family that had no idea about business and labeled business as unsafe.
Yeah.
And so even though, you know, at times I had business coaches, there wasn't a lot of people around me that I could relate to. And I held a deep belief in quite a few areas of my life, in my relationships, I've discovered, as well as business. Like, the core belief is that I'm better off alone.
Yeah, wow.
And so I found proof to sustain that. Yeah. So I was constantly perpetuating that belief by almost self-sabotaging very unconsciously to perpetuate that belief until I got clear on what that was. And, you know, we talk about manifesting a lot and what we want to call out, but it's until, like, what we want to call in, but until we call out, no one can hear us.
Yes.
And so it's the art of asking for help and support and realizing we can't do this on our own. We're here to collaborate. We're here to, you know, to work together with other people. And I found to overcome the challenges is to be so wildly authentic and speak into the challenges, ask for help and connect with people who are actually going through the same stuff as me.
Oh, wow. Wish I had you several months ago. And I could have called out to you. I could have
called out. We'll meet at a
Thank you so much for both of you
pleasure.
for sharing incredible words of wisdom. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to this one-day event that we will be having in May. And it's all about flourishing in
I love that word. That was my word for the year, Sal. I told him that in December. That's my word for the year.
So
it was amazing.
Let's just in finishing off today, can I ask you, I'll start off with you, Toniele.
I'm excited, Sal.
I like to ask often people what their favorite essential oil is, because I often think that this reveals a little bit about your character, or maybe not so much about your character, but where you are on your journey now.
Okay. I'm going to say my ultimate essential oil. So a single oil would be peppermint. I love the smell, everything about it. I love to ingest it. My favorite perfect potion blend of oils would be Spa Escape.
Spa Escape.
It is divine.
That is interesting. As soon as you said peppermint, it makes sense. Having spoken to you, I'm getting into the neuroscience of the work that I do and how I can empower people. Peppermint is very driven. I can see you going far in what you do. But peppermints maybe don't know when to stop. So you said Spa Escape. Oh my God, that's such a gorgeous blend.
It is my favorite.
And you know what? The Spa Escape for me is like saying, hey, I'm driven, I'm on the go all the time, but I know when to slow down. And when I will slow down, Spa Escape with the beautiful ylang ylang essential oil.
And so that's how I feel. If it's in my room in my beautiful diffuser, I've got the portable diffuser, it's amazing. That's how I feel. I'm like, oh. And you used the word balance to me before. And it is that moment of going, oh, it's like I've arrived.
It's your
calm.
balancing.
It's my calm,
It's your balancing blend. And do you have a favorite perfect potion product?
I do. It's your balms and your sweet
balm
dream
in particular?
balm.
Sweet dreams. Excellent. So you don't look like the type of person that would have difficulty sleeping.
Well, overactive mind is probably me, Sal.
And sweet dreams help. And you know what? Sleep is probably one of the most important things, whatever we do in life, is to really maintain our physical well-being. And if we're getting a bad night's sleep, and especially if that becomes a pattern, it will have devastating consequences long-term on our health. So you really know how to find that balance. Excellent. That's amazing.
I'm keen to hear yours.
Jen, what is your favorite oil?
My favorite oil is rose. And it's the connection to the divine feminine.
You speak from the heart. It's not surprising that it is something like rose. I personally believe that not everybody is entitled to use rose until you know how to use it and accept, you know, the qualities that it
Purity
has.
of it.
When I say you,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's entitled to have it because it's such a
Yes.
powerful healing oil on so many, not just at a emotional level, but at a spiritual level. So with the work that you do, I can imagine why you love rose.
Yeah, it's that connection to the divine feminine. To me, rose is like a homecoming. It's a reminder of who I am.
Yeah.
It's connecting all of my centers
really
together.
Beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's just, and because it's so like what it takes to create a drop of essential oil of rose,
Yeah.
Yes.
like just what goes into it,
Even
the process that has to happen,
Ah.
and then also coming back to the life of a rose
Yes.
as well.
Ah.
Beautiful.
And,
You
and
know,
it's like it personifies perfection
it
as
does.
well. And it's just
Gorgeous.
accepting who we are as being perfect as we are.
Yeah.
Look, thank you. That's gorgeous, and it doesn't surprise me. And I think we already mentioned what your favorite perfect potion or blend is.
Eros.
Eros.
Absolutely Eros.
And, just once again, just briefly tell us about your book and what we can expect to learn and find in your book.
Yeah,
That's coming out soon, I believe.
It is on the 15th of March, so 2024. So it's a co-authored book. So myself and a number of other authors have come together. The book is called Wild Eros, The Power of Pleasure.
Amazing.
And so for my particular chapter that I'm contributing to the book, it's all about my journey with the grandmother medicine, so ayahuasca, and how that woke me up, and then how through that journey of awakening, I was able to get in touch with my pleasure and what that means to me now, and then how I embody that and bring that out into the world. So it will be available through Amazon, through Kindle, so the digital version, and also the hard copy will be available as well.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
and we were speaking about this. We might even have a launch here at Perfect Potion when it comes out. Look, that's fascinating. I think this is just opening the door to many other conversations. Look, thank you. Thank you so much, Toniele. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you for having us, Sal.
Yes,
Thank you. I always feel so humbled around you. You have an energy around you that is so calming.
It's
so
international. Today is really the words of your life experiences that you've shared today. I think are going to be beautifully inspiring to so many women. Not just here in Brisbane, in Australia, but around the world. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful experiences and the advice you've given. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sal.
Thank you.